Oh, it's testing your broadcast right now, but what would it be if it were besting our broadcast? Yeah, that's right. YouTube is creating a better Super Sentai Sunday stream to compete with ours, but they got the algorithm on their side, so it will be bested.
Yeah.
All right, but we're live on there. Let me go to the multi-stream for the chats. Oh, yes, guys. My name's James.
I'm Nicole.
And today we have from YouTube, from Twitter and Instagram, you know them as Old God Machinations, but people who know him on the everyday life might name him as Chris.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm doing fantastic. Nicole?
Good. A little sleepy.
Oh, go to sleep, Nicole. You can play in your sleep, right?
No.
Okay, no, do not go to sleep. Let me tweet this out, and then we're gonna get going on Saban's Power Rangers ZEO Battle Racer TM.
Okay. I ran out of my good allergy medicine, so I have to take the kind that makes me sleepy.
No.
Yeah, it sucks.
And then you don't know if you'd rather suffer with allergies or take a nap.
Yeah, it's like you have to choose. Either feel awful because you have allergies or feel awful because you're just tired all day.
Yeah. And this, where I'm at, we've got that Saharan dust cloud coming through, and it's just another cherry on top of the 2020 cake. It's like, I can't win. I'm going to go play Power Rangers on the internet now. I haven't played this game, in it has to have been years. I used to own it, actually. It's such a random title.
Yeah, it's weird, but I think this we'll make judgments afterwards, but this is one of the more quality titles.
That's true.
In my opinion.
Okay.
But such a random, concept. And they did it.
Especially for ZEO. If this were Car Ranger, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we're gonna do the season that's ending on a system that's ending.
Yeah.
Because both of these were out at the time the N64 was coming out, and then obviously Turbo was coming out in America. But now you're gonna get this one. You're gonna like it.
Also happening in '96, the biggest hip hop feud ever, Tupac and Biggie.
I mean, it's all so culturally relevant.
It is. Let me share once more on Facebook. And we got a bunch of questions for you as well, because this is our first time talking, and we were watching your YouTubes, which if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, link in the description where to find Old God Machinations.
I will do that.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah. Sharing my story. All right, I think we are golden.
Yes.
All right. Nicole, is that volume too loud for the video game?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, we're doing 2-player. Is that good with you, Nicole? Yeah.
Yes. James.
Okay. I'm just
Seriously?
sure. I'm just making
You
sure.
bring it. See, I'm not angry. You just bring it out of me with this nonsense.
It's not nonsense. It's some sense, and that sense is you are incensed by me. A turn of a phrase. What did you click, Nicole?
I didn't click anything.
Okay. This is just the game. I think all the racers are unlocked already.
Okay.
Do we do race?
I don't know.
I guess we're doing
You
race.
picked the game. I've never played this before.
All right. We can even be mean guys.
Oh, you got to be a Cog or King Mondo. I mean, King Mondo on a motorcycle, why not?
All right, I'll be him. Is this King Mondo?
That is King Mondo.
I
Mondo,
like
okay.
this mask.
Okay, I'm a bit of a video game person, which you guys probably already know, but I like that this game is so budget that they just took ZEO Ranger 5's sprite and recolored him. This is not the Gold Ranger's suit. This is just Tommy painted black, which
All right.
they did on the Super Nintendo Power Rangers game too. Everybody was the Red Ranger except it is a Saban staple to cut corners where possible.
That's why, actually, I now in retrospect, because I'm always trying to figure out why they didn't pour over the Car Ranger game for Turbo, but it's probably because it was on Super Nintendo, and Super Nintendo in '97 was so done that they're like, oh no, we're not doing this.
Yeah, American gamers couldn't handle 2D in the year of 1997. 3D was the hottest rage.
Not when you've seen Crash Bandicoot or a Resident Evil tank controls. You can't go back to a beautiful sprite.
Exactly. You gotta wait 25 years to go back to sprite art.
Yep. Nicole, you're first player, so I think just click start.
Click start.
All right, good. This is to go. So it's go, jump, break, and blaster. And then to move is just the D-pad. Oh no, he goes slow. So Chris, our first question for you is, one, how'd you get into well, let's just we'll go balls out right now. A Super Sentai or Power Rangers, which do you prefer? Or are you like, hey, I like them both?
I'm Power Rangers.
Okay.
I have an appreciation for Sentai for obvious reasons. Obviously, Power Rangers comes from Sentai. Sentai is very creative, because without Sentai, we wouldn't be able to have Power Rangers. Like, you can't have... Well, you can have one without the other, but you can't have Power Rangers without the Sentai. But, you know, I was alive, and I was watching the premiere of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, dang.
So, you know, I'll be 35 this week, actually. So, I was around, and I've always just gravitated towards it. Sentai is... There are Sentai seasons I would like to watch. Doing some of them legally is a little more difficult than I think it should be.
Yeah.
But that's something I don't know a lot about personally, but I'm a Power Rangers person first and foremost.
Oh, which series are you looking to watch?
I really want to watch Q Ranger because I am completely obsessed with this aesthetic. I don't know anything about the story really or anything, but I love every mecha. I love every suit. I need more of it in my life.
Yeah, that's one Eric from Ranger Command is always saying, like, you gotta watch it. And I think I watched the first episode, but it just didn't, like, pique my interest that much.
And I get that. And I think that's what I'm concerned about, too, is because I already have such a big love of its aesthetic. I don't know if taint is the right word, but I don't want to be like, oh... Man, I love all these weird spaceship designs for animals and stuff, and these are great on my shelf. But the story didn't really click with me. So I don't know. We'll see. But it's also one of those things. I've gotten a nasty letter from my ISP before, and I don't want to get another nasty letter from them for like pirating something.
I have only gotten them when I've never gotten it with Tokusatsu. I have only gotten it when it's like, hey, maybe don't be downloading the entire discography of No Limit Records from 1998. They put out like 26 albums, so they were like, yeah, we see what you're doing.
Well, mine came from watching RuPaul's Drag Race, so... I mean, and just to comment on what's happening on the screen, I love that this level is a straight-up ripoff of, like, the Mario Kart Beach level. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some copyright infringement happening.
Well, I believe it's made on the same engine. So, like, they got permission somehow to do something.
This is, like, straight up, like... Cheap Peach. I don't even know. Like, you could just replace these characters with Mario. It would be the same level. That's fantastic.
It also, I played earlier. I just was like, oh, I'll do the Red Ranger. It'll be nice. The Red Ranger is OP because I was winning every single match, and now I can't even get up the speed to like pass people. Like, I was lapping people on this stage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this
Well, I mean, it is Tommy after all.
Tommy Red Ranger.
Yeah, so if it's Tommy, it's got to be OP. That's the rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and what I think is also really fudged up about this is the Pink Ranger is like the worst stat-wise, and it's like, well, why is that? But also, Amy Diaz says, what up, guys? Long time no see.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nicole Scremin. Can we do no? I need... This dude is so slow.
I don't know how.
Oh, maybe I can do that. Game over, baby. What if it's just game... Is it just game over for me? Oh, my God.
Oh, that's terrible.
What? Oh, because I lost. I didn't, I guess, place?
Back.
You might have to start and then click start, and then after that...
Start.
Yeah, and then maybe pause, and then you might have a chance to... See, even like this setup is...
Yeah,
Can you truly... Okay, I have to restart on my end.
Way to mess it up, James.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, your files.
My
record.
Can I just click that and it restarts? Cool. We own this game. We own it, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. It's fine.
It's fine. Oh, whoa. This seems a lot louder now, right? Or maybe it's just that opening part.
It is a lot louder.
Okay, let me... Yeah, right?
Yes.
How'd it get so loud? It's not like there's nothing that I did to make it like it.
Would you say the music is stronger than before?
It is. All right, then video. Full screen. Okay, there we go. All right, I guess we'll do point race. Oh no, let's just do race. Amy Diaz says, "Good jam though for the intro." What else is on that notepad, Nicole?
Oh, yeah, we watched that video of you talking about how to store things, of like your figures and stuff, and we were like, man, you gotta break down your boxes.
Yeah. And I've kind of gotten to that point where I'm gonna have to, or I'm gonna do the more classic me thing and just buy a bigger or rent out a bigger space, because breaking down boxes is after years of retail, I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh my gosh, it takes like 2 seconds.
I can't. It just brings back these memories of working for a very large video game retailer, which, I mean, put 2 and 2 together and you'll figure it out.
Electronic boutique.
Yeah, like I can't do it. Don't make me do it. I will build a house for these boxes to get them down. I'm not doing this ever again.
All of a sudden, there's just a tool shed, and you're like, "That's for my boxes."
And my guy is just like, I'm not even surprised anymore.
Don't hit me!
You got hit?
No.
I do like that this game is pre-Car Ranger, pre-Turbo, but yet, you can use their carts. It's fine. It doesn't have anything to do with. I don't believe O Ranger had any vehicles that were not motorcycles. That was only those were from Car Ranger, but they were like, "No, it's fine. Tanya can have a car."
Do you think Tommy is a hunk?
Actually, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. He watches, but you know.
Yeah.
Adam
doesn't.
was my ranger. Like as a kid, I didn't understand it then, but now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get why Adam was your favorite. Like young Chris, it makes sense.
He's was the frog one?
Yeah.
Okay. Vash the Stampede. That's how I know him.
Exactly. And so whenever people like talk about him in regard to anime and stuff, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I know what Adam Park is. So, or he's Nero, yeah, in Devil May Cry. So I recognize that.
Okay.
He does a lot of video game voices as well. So whenever like we're playing something, the first question in any game is like, "Is that Johnny Young Bosch?" And my husband's like, "I don't know, sweetie." I'm like, "Hold on, let me get on IMDb or something and figure it out."
That was us on like when we watched Akira. We were like that sounds so familiar, and it was him.
Yeah, I mean, the dude is like everywhere. He has arguably the best post Power Rangers career. In my opinion.
Yeah,
like he's everywhere.
Narvi's got a pretty good one.
He does, and I mean, he's doing good too. Like for the world.
We saw him in Hamlet last summer. No, not Hamlet. Was it Hamlet? Macbeth. I always get those two mixed up.
He's ripped as fuck.
God damn, is he handsome as hell.
Dude is always like even as a kid, like I didn't realize it, but looking back, I'm like, damn, he's cute. Like he's like weird, like because I mean, it was Bulk and Skull. They weren't supposed to be like you weren't supposed to be noticing.
Yeah.
But then you like see him at cons and stuff, and you're like, oh damn.
Yeah,
like,
he's a zaddy as hell.
And so I've never met him, but I've met Paul Schreier. I guess that's how you say his last name. I met him at San Diego Comic-Con, so that was cool. I assumed I would have met them at Morphicon this year, but rest in peace. We're not going to Morphicon this year, so.
Our friend acts with him, so he introduced us.
Oh, that's cool.
And he fingers crossed someday we'll get on that show.
Get on that show.
On This Movie's Gay.
Oh, get him on that show.
And then everyone I tell that, they're like, why isn't he going on your Super Sentai show? I was like, because that's how I roll, bro.
Subverting expectations.
I want him on our Queer Cinema podcast. Because that's
awesome.
That's something a little more. He's like, oh yeah, of course we're talking about Super Sentai. No, he's gonna be like, wow, this is something new. No one's ever asked me to do this.
That would be fantastic. That would be really cool. You got to get in there and just like weasel him in. I don't know. Give him cake or cheese or something. Everybody likes something.
It's always just been like scheduling. Because he is a professor at a college, and then when he's not like when he's not teaching, he's acting in production. So and he's a father and husband, loving style, or yeah, you like a loving husband and father. That's what I meant by that.
Just go with it. It's fun.
Okay.
Now, the guy is incredibly successful, and I don't want to say you don't see that often, but
sorry.
I can't. I'm really bad with names, which is my downfall. But Scott from RPM, he was on Jessica Jones for those 3 years.
And this is a HeadGum podcast. Why that's. I Zombie.
Oh yeah, she was. I can't think of her name either. Summer is her character in RPM. Rose McIver.
Yes.
So, and I have not watched a lot of that. I need to. It's in my Netflix queue. But I like Rob Thomas because I love Veronica Mars.
Yes.
So, and a lot of the Veronica Mars cast was on that show. So I'm like, oh, one day I'll watch this.
What you think of the Hulu season?
I actually enjoyed it.
Oh, blasphemy! I hear.
Without spoiling how it ends, for the most part, I liked it. But you know, there's some things I would have changed.
My friend TC, he is a huge fan of Veronica Mars, and on our Buffy podcast for one episode, he just went through with everything that was wrong. Like, he went through from episode 1 to the last episode of that season and said, this is what is wrong with this season. And I was like, I've never seen a single episode, but I'm gonna have to take your word for this.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to come back from a show that it ended in 2007 after 3 seasons that no one watched. Then you got a Kickstartered movie, and then you randomly get Hulu to revive you. It's just, there's a lot of time in between those 3 points.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think for what they could do, they did all right. But there are some things I would have changed. But I mean, you could say that, I guess, about any show you watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just keep seeing Tommy fall off the edge.
Yeah, I wanted to scream at Nicole real quick. You can fall off the edge, Nicole.
Yeah, just figured that out. Thanks. Oh no,
I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, I just did it again.
Just
Britney
spam the
Spears
just spam the
style.
X button, which is how I win in Mario Kart. Super, you know, you just keep clicking whatever A or B. Oh my god, and it means that you don't have to you don't have to brake or anything. It's just like a constant speed. But
yeah, as I get fucking lapped.
Well, but in this case, it's to not fall off the edges. Like, why are all of the edges fallable? Hey, Nicole.
What?
Get hit by my
Don't.
blaster. No! Oh, my God. Oh, I'm losing. Oh, I just got lapped. I straight up got lapped. Wow, this game's diff.
Yeah, it was. I remember it being very hard when I would try it, and I'm not like, I'm good at Mario Kart, but I'm not really a racing person.
Yeah.
So I just like to like Mario Kart is my peak skill level. So even this, I mean, this was marketed towards kids, and it's brutal.
That's how I feel about Monster Rancher Hop About. That game's brutal, but it's so much like, hey, this is a children's game. Yeah,
and you get a lot of those. You're like, this is aimed at kids, but this would make kids cry. I'm not sure the developers knew who they were developing for.
That's
it's
also
really. Oh, go ahead.
Also, Digimon World, the first one, I thought that was extremely difficult for a child to grasp.
And that's the thing, is a lot of people developers will get licenses that they don't really have any knowledge or interest in, and they're just like, we're going to make a game, and we're going to slap these people onto the characters however we need to and move on. And so it doesn't necessarily appeal to the age range, or do they have the budget to tune it.
Yeah.
So gaming is very complicated, especially when you get licenses involved.
The best licensed game, though, it's got to be Cartoon Network Racing.
Oh god.
Not Sam and Max.
Oh yeah, I guess Sam and Max would be a licensed game. So yeah, it's Sam and Max. Never mind.
Ha.
I just think of Sam and Max not as licensed because Steve Purcell worked on the first one. Like he was an employee of LucasArts, and then the one of like the managers or something, like a higher up, loved Sam and Max, and he was like, let's fucking make this into a game. And Steve Purcell was like, okay, yeah.
Can we count Kingdom Hearts as a licensed game?
Yes. Yeah, that.
It's got original characters, but it's fine.
Oh, but I think it wouldn't be licensed because it is the licensors are technically making the game.
Yeah. I
Except this,
know.
except the Melody one. That one has to be licensed.
Yeah, for sure. The most recent licensed game I played was the new Star Wars, the Jedi Fallen Knight. That game was amazing. So
Okay,
good.
I hear mixed reviews about it.
I love that game. It's fantastic.
Did you ever play Dark Forces and Jedi Knights?
I played Jedi Knight 2
Okay.
randomly. I don't know. I had it on the GameCube, and I loved that game. It was awesome.
That's one I would really like to play that sometime because the first two are just amazing. Well, I mean, like, it's weird because it's Dark Forces, then Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knights, and then it's Jedi Knights 2 Jedi Academy.
Yeah, that's the one I played. And I want to say they're remastering it.
Yeah, it was just maybe like 6 months ago was put out on Switch.
Okay, yeah, I knew that it was coming. That's such a random, like, put it on all three, please. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have a Switch, I can play it, but, like, go the distance. Put it on everything. Expand your sales opportunities.
Yeah. It also seems like it seems more of an Xbox game.
It does. It really does. And, I mean, you could throw on a filter. Granted, I don't know anything about game development and how feasible any of this stuff is, but it just seems like you could make it look better. And then more people would want to buy it or try it or whatever. So I like their little garage. Like, oh, we just neatly park our vehicles here for use later.
Yeah.
When we're not fighting each other, we actually have friendly racing matches across Angel Grove. King Mondo's really chill.
Yeah, I wonder what the story for this is. Because the ZEO pinball had using the pinball method was beating the monsters, but this just seems fun.
And maybe it's like the Mario series where it's not Bowser's not evil. It's just everybody's playing a part.
Yeah.
It's a character. But I'm going to guess that that's not the case.
Yeah,
it would have been funny to have an episode that was kind of based around this, and they just pretended like it was normal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that would have been super dope. Just a racing episode? Wacky racer style?
But then you get Turbo, and I don't remember them ever having any like racing except for Tommy in the opening scene where he was like, I love race cars now, and he never talked about it again.
That's odd. Did they not have the little go-karts that they have in Car Ranger?
They did, but they didn't like, I mean, God, I haven't seen Turbo in probably like 5 years now, but they don't really ever address the weirdness. It's just like, we have new powers, and now everything's car themed. The end. So, I mean...
that is strange how, like, because Car Ranger is so goofy, for them not to even say, like, hey, yep, this is going to be a goofy season of also Power Rangers is weird.
Well, the rumor is, and I mean, this might have been confirmed at some point, but like the writing team couldn't decide if they wanted it to be goofy or if they wanted it to be serialized like ZEO. So there was a constant back and forth in the writer's room as to who was going to get their way this week. And so that's why some of the episodes, TJ gets baked into a pizza and they adapted that. And
yes.
Some episodes that are like, I guess this was before 9/11, so you can still do that, but there's a bomb in the city and we're going to kill every person in this building. Like, there was a very strange dichotomy of like episode tone going on. So Turbo was a mess. Like, it's amazing that it came out coherent at all, honestly. Which is funny because I actually don't hate all of Turbo. I know that's not like... But a lot of people will tell you, oh, Turbo started when the new team showed up. But I think the first, 15 or 20 episodes with the original team have a lot of good things to offer. It's just kind of buried in that back and forth behind, the writer's doors or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and something I enjoyed about it was that because Jason Frank didn't want to be on the show anymore, before they like wrote everybody off, they had reduced his screen time because he was like, I want a break. So that actually gave the other characters a chance to shine in ways they hadn't before, and kind of like let everybody else step up to the plate and get some screen time in. And I actually think that's great. Like,
Yeah.
it's you have a yes, at this point we're all sure Tommy's the star of the show, but you yo.
Alpha does have, or maybe it was in the Christmas special. Alpha is when his magical Christmas. That's when Alpha's got that juicy derriere.
Oh, if I could just have Alpha rapping about his ass, I think my life would be complete.
I could do it. Like,
I mean, that might be your next project. I think you can vote right now and find out. I mean, but you got to get the cosplay going on. So,
oh yeah, I can't do that.
do you remember that that Nickelodeon game show, The Legends of the Hidden Temple?
Oh, absolutely. I still watch it.
It's fantastic, obviously. I have I wouldn't say a friend, but an acquaintance who made a cosplay of Olmec.
Ooh.
And yeah, like I've seen this in the flesh, and if somebody can do that, you can make an Alpha costume. You can make this happen.
Oh, I'm just like not good at doing stuff like that.
I mean, the worse it is, the better. Like, let's be real. Put some Christmas lights in the shape of a lightning bolt, flip them on, it's fine. It'll be perfect.
And then it's also more perfect because it's Alpha's Christmas themed.
Exactly. And then in a pinch, it can double as a Mysterio costume from Spider-Man.
Mysterio. He's the mysterious one, right?
God damn it.
Did you see
Yes,
the newest
James.
movie?
No.
Oh no, he's the bad guy in the new.
Yeah, he's got like a globe head with
yep,
smoke
yep.
inside.
I fought him on Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 2
Perfect.
once.
Exactly. He's like Spider-Man Zordon. It's perfect.
Okay. And that brings us into another question in your display room. You have all those comic book, or at least you had
Things
those
hanging up.
Posters. What you reading right now?
Right now, I'm actually getting ready to start the Power Rangers comic because I don't read issues individually. I can't keep up.
Oh yeah.
I always wait for like the big compilations to come out. We have a local comic book store here, which oh god, this is gonna sound so rude, but I like supporting comic book stores. I really do. I had a great one when I lived in California.
Yeah.
But our comic book store here is very snobby.
Boo.
I don't like that quality in people, so I don't go to our comic book store, which sucks because I love the experience of them. So my comic books have all come from Amazon. Yikes.
Oh no.
But so I basically collected the Shattered Grid, the hardbound ones. I've got all 3 that are out now, which was my goal before I started because I'm a big fan of binging. I don't want to have to stop until it's over.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to I could easily blow through those books in like a sitting, it's very easy to just take a day off and read. So I wanted to have lots to start with. So I'm on vacation this week. I actually bought a brand new comic book reading chair and made a nook in my bedroom. joking. When I do something, I do it all the way. I am 100% extra. As you can, I mean, you've seen this room. You
Yeah.
know I have to commit to something. And this week, I will be propping my feet up and reading Shattered, or not even just Shattered Grid, but the entirety that has been released of Power Rangers in hardbound
Hell yeah.
form. I am excited. I have been wanting to do this. Of course, it's been spoiled over the years, but I don't think that takes away from the experience in this case.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm looking forward to. It's been a while since I've had a chance to actually sit down and read comics. It's been too long, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into something.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole,
I used to be a really big DC fan, like comic book wise. And I don't know, just somewhere along the way, like I was reading Batwoman when she was new, and then they canceled her series. I got really depressed about comic books, and I know that's a silly thing to say, but I kind of just was like, I'm going to take a break for a little while. That hurt. It was like a family member died or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
oh no, I feel you on that.
So I don't like endings. Endings don't. I know that's silly and childish, but like when I watch a TV show and it ends, it's hard for me to watch the last season. Like even though I want to know what happens, it's like I don't want this to go away.
James cries like every time.
I was also in a very bad headspace, very depressed at the time. But when 30 Rock ended, the second to last episode, it was as if a family member died. I was bawling so hard when I realized, like, next week I'm never going to see these people anymore. And in retrospect, oh boy, James, you should have gotten out of that relationship you were in much sooner.
That show though, like pulls at those heartstrings. Though the ending between Jack and Liz is just, it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Because there's so much emotion there after 7 years, and then there's also like boom humor. You got it. But I love 30 Rock, and I love those characters, and so I feel you. Two of my favorite shows aside from Power Rangers are Alias and Fringe. And even now, like rewatching it, I know everything that's going to happen. I know every emotional beat. I could probably quote the shows line for line if I tried hard enough and I had a few shots in me. But it doesn't matter. Like, the dude was watching, I call him so many different things, but the husband, the dude, whatever, was watching Alias with me. We've been together for, oh God, it's 2020, for 14 years now. And he had never sat down and watched my favorite TV show of all time with me. And the last time I was rewatching it, he sat down and I was bawling. It was in the last season. He didn't say anything because he knows better. And he just reaches over me and pats me on the shoulder. I am a grown-ass man, and I am crying over a TV show that at the time had ended, actually 14 years ago. It ended the month he and I got together. So, like, it was a good time and it was a bad time all put together.
Yeah.
But it's just, I get really attached to fictional characters. I can't help it. It's just, it's part of my personality.
I'll also cry at, most listeners know this, I'll cry at any pro wrestling documentary or music documentary, like focusing on one person, or skateboarding documentary. I'm like, Rodney Mullen, he got out. His father accepted his skateboarding.
I can't watch documentaries for that reason, because even if they're like extremely interesting and I'm not well versed in the person, like it's good filmmaking if you can make somebody feel something. But being who I am, most recently I watched a documentary on Whitney Houston, because I mean, aside from the obvious stereotype you could put on like gay people and pop music, Whitney Houston was a powerhouse.
Yeah.
As a singer, as a performer, there will be no one else like her. And I knew better, but it was like a Saturday. I was home alone, clearly before the pandemic. Um, and I watched this, and I was
James, the game volume.
I don't.
Is
the
so
game
loud.
volume keeps doing this. Hold up. Whenever we reset it, it goes back to like as loud as it wants to be. Hold on.
And it's so hot in here.
I'll turn the AC back on. Settings. Okay, maybe if I just do this. Okay, there we go. It's back to under that. Also, Cord says sup. I will be right back. I need to turn on the AC. But the Whitney Houston documentary.
okay. So like, you get. I'm a pretty big '80s and '90s music fan in general. I mean, it's when I grew up. But her life was just so damn tragic.
Yeah.
And, you I think when people tell me, oh, money doesn't solve, everything, I think of a lot of problems it could solve for me. If I were rich, it's not so much that it would solve everything. It's just it would buy me some peace of mind.
Yeah.
But you see like, of course, when you become famous, come out of the woodwork, your friends may not necessarily have your best interests at heart anymore, and it was just so damn depressing. And so I have to be very careful because my mood is easily influenced by like what I've watched or listened to. And I'm sure, I don't know if everybody's like that. I'm sure we all are to a certain extent, but I don't want to watch something depressing all the time because then it'll take me like 3 or 4 days to like crawl out of that hole. And sometimes if I'm around like a friend or something who's in a bad space, it's like I feel that too. I take on that energy, so I have to be really careful because I am not a good depressed person. I don't know how to handle it. Like it's sadness is not my friend. I don't like it. I'm sure nobody likes it, but I do not operate well while sad. Well, this was so bright and cheerful.
Yeah, where we suck at this game. At least I think I suck real bad at this game. So we like switched over to like a 2-player just like arena battle thing. Mario didn't have this.
Yeah, why aren't there other players, James?
I don't know, but we're about to kill each other.
This is exactly what I picture Power Rangers as, is like flexing on motorcycles and throwing bouncy balls at each other. It's perfect. It completely captures the spirit of Sentai.
Nicole, if you want to there are different 2-player modes.
Oh, this sucks ass.
Okay, yeah, then go to. Oh wait, do I choose? Oh, I guess I choose. Okay.
And to be fair, you both might not be bad at the game. It might just be a bad game.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so in the beginning...
I was doing good with the original person the Gold Ranger, earlier.
But I think that first circuit is very easy. Then once you get to the next one, there's so many turns that I don't know how the computer is doing so well. Should we do... so here's what we have, Nicole. We have 2-player versus... point race and bumper chase.
Bumper chase.
All right, we'll try bumper chase.
What is a bumper chase?
I don't like. It also doesn't explain what these things are.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, I have never heard the term bumper chase until this moment. Like ever, I have never a bumper chase. Oh, apparently you knock them off the edge. Okay. I guess it's like bumper cars, except you're chasing each other.
Now, I've heard of a bump chaser. That's someone who's trying to, snort cocaine with you.
That's exactly what I picture happening in Power Rangers, to be honest. You're right. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And
Get
to play
outta
this
here.
game, you might need to do that.
Get out of here, Nicole. Oh, wow, this sucks. Because
So
also,
you stay away from the edge and you win?
oh, I think you have to, knock the, you have to, and the hitbox is so tiny. Nicole looks huge, but as I get closer, super tiny. Why doesn't it start tiny and then get big?
Oh!
Yes, Nicole, you hit one of the speed ups.
Oh no.
You're going 233 kilometers. But what's as we were watching, what's one of your unicorn buys?
Oh, God, that's super easy. There is the Isis Megazord from Power Rangers Wild Force, or I don't know what it was called in Gal Ranger. I can't think of the name of it. Like I said, I'm bad with names. But it's the one with the giant falcon on the back. And yeah. Never in my life did I think I would own that. Like, with enough money, yeah, I could have owned it, I guess that's the answer for everything. But I found this on eBay. Not complete, with box and instructions and all that kind of stuff, but usually you don't find it with all the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's lost the armadillo or something's broken or whatever. This auction was from some guy in England. And I usually don't, unless I'm ordering from Japan, I don't usually order from England or France or anything, because customs and all that kind of stuff is just too much to navigate. But I saw this thing and it was $100. And I must have gone over the photos they posted on eBay for 5 hours. I am not kidding. There's got to be something wrong with this thing. There's no way this is $100. Even if it's in England, how did somebody else not already buy this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I did not see it, but all of a sudden I stopped moving and it said I won. And then I looked at the top screen and Nicole wasn't on the screen.
Did you drive off again, Nicole?
Maybe.
I don't know. But that's probably the one I'm most proud of in my collection, because it generally goes for way more than I paid for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of those that's one I want to own, but I don't think I ever will. And you've seen the room. You've obviously seen how much money I had shamelessly invested in this. But I also recognize that I'm extremely fortunate to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I grew up extremely poor as a kid. Not to be a sad story or whatever, but I've kind of turned into that person. I know where I came from and I know what it's like to be in that position, but I did not have these things as a kid. I'm going to have them now as an adult. That's a completely rational line of thinking, in my opinion, and I'm gonna go with it. And thankfully, the husband, bless his heart, my Southern's coming out, but he is so patient. He does not understand anything about this franchise. I've tried to get him into it to just have somebody in real life to talk about this with, in my house. He is 14 hours older than me. No joke.
Oh, dang.
Our birthdays are literally a day apart, which is hilarious. So he grew up, watching Mighty Morphin, when it was on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be nice. He has not committed to it the way I have.
Yeah.
It is a sore spot in our relationship. No. He encourages me. He says, if it makes you happy, do it. And so I'm very, very, very blessed is the best way to put it, that kind of all the stars align for me to be able to do this kind of thing. And just the whole collection, honestly, is kind of, it's embarrassing in a weird way. Like it's not. I don't know. I'm not embarrassed that I do it, but I also look at it. I'm like, you're silly, Chris.
I look at it and I'm just like, it's impressive. That's how I see it.
Appreciate that. I walk into this room, which no joke is why when we rented this house, I was like, I have to have a third room. He's like, we don't even have 3 people. I was like, I need it for my toys. And he's like, fine. But no, I look at it and in some days I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I am always extremely proud of it. But then I see other people and I'm not like I'm not a jealous person, generally speaking.
Be jealous.
I see other people's stuff and I'm like, oh damn, I've got some work to do. So no, I'm very proud of it. But then I look at like, legitimately, I'm going to run out of space one day. I haven't hit that point just yet, but there are some collections that I'm just like, hot damn, I am so impressed by you. But I'm extremely proud of what I've accomplished. Like, I don't know if it's something to be proud of, but I love this stuff, and clearly, you know, it makes me happy. And I found, I wouldn't say I'm like an internet personality by any means. I just like toys and spandex and talking to people about this kind of stuff, which is why I get so much enjoyment out of it. But it gives me joy. Like, I know that sounds cheesy and very like ABC after school special, but the world sucks. Like, the world is a terrible, horrible place. And if I can do anything to bring happiness into somebody else's life, like, that makes me happy. Like, I will never make any money off of this. And even if I ever were to become monetized or anything like that, it would all just get turned back around and reinvested into this.
Hell yeah.
When I get a comment where somebody's like, oh man, I had this as a kid, this reminds me of my childhood, this makes me happy, that legitimately makes me feel good as a person. So I don't care. Like, if my hobby makes somebody else have a good day, then I've done my part.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, we all, for the listeners, we interact a lot on Twitter, you know, you and I as a group. And we can see sometimes how quickly things can go south, you know, and I'm sure any fandom's like that, but I'm not really involved in other fandoms. I find them overwhelming. So with all the negativity that can be out there, which I'm not a perfect person, I can get kind of negative sometimes too, you know, it happens. I would rather focus on the good and the joy that it can do and bring than to worry about, I don't know, I can't think of an example, but just like the stuff that's not really important at the end of the day. So I don't know. That went off on a weird tangent. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all good.
No, James and I regularly watch this one YouTuber who just opens Pokemon cards. And it's so much fun.
It's weirdly satisfying.
Yeah.
Like,
This dude is also opening. He was a lawyer, so like he has money, and like has amassed this huge collection of just rare packs and shit. So he's opening like, oh man, I lost. Packs that go for like $2,000 on eBay.
Oh my god.
And he opened up a first edition base set pack a few months ago and pulled the first edition Charizard holographic, and he just went freaking crazy. And I was like, he did it. It was
Seriously,
nice.
like, the best one is when he was in a library
Yeah.
opening up cards and he pulled a rare one.
Well, he pulled one that he had been trying to pull for months.
Yeah.
And then finally pulls it, but he's in a library, so he can't scream. So he just like goes on the ground and just like is like sobbing on the ground.
So amazing. But it's true. Joy is contagious. Like, I mean, I guess all emotion is contagious, but when you see somebody genuinely passionate about something
Yeah.
or genuinely happy, it triggers serotonin in your brain and it makes you happy. Even if it's not happening to you, like just seeing other people have a good time, generally, I don't want to speak for everybody, but generally it makes you feel good. I've considered doing like, I'm not a videographer. Like I just learned how to use video editing software. And by, we're going to say learn is probably the wrong word.
Oh, yeah.
I am capable of doing it, but I don't know the ins and outs. So YouTube videos, like past like doing reviews, which I used to do in literally one take. And if I missed a word or messed up something 13 minutes in, I had to start the whole thing over because I didn't know how to edit and it scared me.
Yeah.
Now I can kind of edit, so it's growing. I'm learning. It's actually a positive influence on my life. But I've thought about doing like unboxings.
Yeah.
I order too much. But when I order from Mandarake, like I'll get like 6 or 7 giant Zords because that's really what I'm into the most.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I should record this. Oh, I want to open this.
You should.
I should do unboxings. But then I'm impatient and I'm like, I want to play with my shit. I have stuff. Like I legitimately got 2 boxes this week and I was like, I should save these and I should figure out a way to record them and I can do this and I can close the door and it's like the husband's not there and I won't be embarrassed about it. But then I'm also like, I have such stage fright with other people hearing my voice, and it's one thing when it's on the internet and I'm not watching them hear it, or I don't know how to explain it, but like if he's here, totally supportive, freaks me out. I can't do it. But nope, I got impatient and I have toys laying all over my floor, which you can't see, but they're everywhere. The room's a mess because I just sit like a 5-year-old and I play with these toys and I just love them. It's such a great escape from whatever the hell's happening out there, And I just, that's what I love about the fandom and interacting with everybody. It's just, most of us are adults and most of us are friends. We all have our friends and stuff, but either you can't see them because of what's going on in the world right now, or my best friend in the world, we used to see each other like 4 times a week. We would just, hey, I'm coming over. Let's go somewhere. Okay. Well, she just moved to a city 4 hours away. And so now all my friends are online. I don't know if that's sad or not, but, everybody's moved away and moved on and have families and stuff. And I'm an adult who plays with children's toys and takes care of his dogs. So
Hell yeah.
This is how I get my enjoyment, and I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad other people are into it as well.
Yeah, but some of those toys, they have small pieces, so they're not technically children's toys. It's 8 and up.
And when I was a child, I couldn't afford $30, and they're more than $30 now. So but I can't call them adult toys. I don't like that word. I don't like those 2 words together in relation to Power Rangers. So
Probably exists.
They are collector's items. The curiosity in me wants to open a Google window, but I also don't want that ruined for me, so I'm not going to open the window.
Power Rangers sex toys.
I've seen Hello Kitty adult toy. But, like, obviously it's marketed as a massager, but it is not.
It's like, I knew this existed because Rule 34 is a thing, but I also don't need to know this exists. There was a few weeks ago, it's probably been months now at this point. There was this post going around Twitter and Instagram and everything, and somebody had taken their Lightning Collection figures of the Mighty Morphin team and had the boys surrounding the girls on a stripper pole and throwing out fake
Oh
dolls.
no.
And on like a concept level, like, haha, it's funny. But then you start, or at least I start thinking too hard about it. I'm like, these are literally teenagers with attitude. This is some dark shit. Like, we don't. No, take it away. I don't ever want to see this again. Like, I don't know. It's just it's therapy for me. You know.
Yeah.
It's how I de-stress. And there are days where it brings stress, and you know, like anything you do and enjoy, creating is a process. I'm sure, obviously, both of you know this.
Oh, absolutely.
Creating is extremely tough. It is a lot more than just turning on a camera and talking. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of technicalities. There's a lot of learning, and it's hard. There's a lot of pressure behind it, but it's also something I never expected to get so much enjoyment from.
Yeah.
I don't ever think I'll be the best at it or anything like that, but I don't care. Like, if I've actually developed I wouldn't say a huge following, but I 6 months ago, or wow, it's almost been a year. Time is just. I started this in October. Like, actually, I had the collection, but I was like, I want to find a way to share this with people.
Yeah.
And I had the means to do it. I have a relatively decent personality. I could do this, but when I said that, like, I didn't know what this was. So of course I did a bad. I knew that was coming.
I was gonna do bag, but I was like, the D's closer.
Yeah, it's perfect. Always go for the D. What?
Yeah.
But when I do something, I commit to it. I've always been that kind of person. If I'm going to do it, I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm not going to...
You're gonna whole ass it.
I'm going to whole ass it because I want both cheeks involved. Like,
Yes.
Have you ever thought if a butt didn't have like the down the
James.
middle, like, and it's just like one big cheek? Just think about that.
Well,
That would
want
look
to.
weird.
But then you think about that, but then you think like people have flat asses, so it's almost the same thing.
Yeah. You know, like
that's
Hank
my
Hill.
favorite. But you know, when I started researching what I would need and oh shit, I can't just talk about this off the top of my head. I need a script. But my personal like recording philosophy is I don't want to sound rehearsed.
Yeah.
Like, I want someone who's sitting there watching this to feel like they're there with me, in the sense that I have notes beside me where obviously nobody can see, but it's just bullet points. I don't write what I'm thinking because A, then I have to read it, and B, I like it to feel more off the cuff, like we're having a conversation. I don't want to tell you what to think about the toy. I'm here to tell you what I think about it, what I like about it, and what I don't like. And then engage. Tell me what you think. Like,
Yeah.
I love hearing other people's opinions. Like, you know, as long as they're presented in like a friendly, cohesive, I get nothing out of somebody coming out and say, I hate this toy, it sucks.
Yeah.
That's good, I guess. I also like things, but you know, when there's a bit of cruelty that goes behind it, to just that's not my style, and I can't make people be different, but I don't want to put that into the world. So the creating has been extremely rewarding.
But I feel you on the trying to make it sound not rehearsed. Because on Patreon, I do a one-man podcast called Talking About Beyblade. And at first I was like, the first podcast that I had were just me and it was all scripted. And I was like, it can't be that, but it can't be like nothing, like no note style, because people will be like, oh, it's just James on, an hour and a half improv trip of just like being a maniac. So I was like, let's just do bullet points. I call myself the bullet point maniac. Nicole would know if she ever listened to the show. Oh, heating on her. Or if she wasn't mean to me and was actually a guest on the show sometimes.
What do you mean?
You were
co-hosts aren't allowed. That's your entire
I know, because
bit.
you were mean. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god, that's like my whole thing.
What, you being mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
mean,
hurts.
I'm
me.
gonna have to side with Nicole because my whole personality is the meaner I am to you, the more I like you.
Yeah, exactly.
If I don't like somebody,
Ooh, do that one.
I don't talk to somebody. Like, I just don't engage. Oh, currently it's snowing in Angel Grove. LA has some weird climate.
They might be in the mountains, up on, oh, what's that? Oh, man, why can't I think of it? They're always talking about a big mountain on LA podcasts.
Oh my god, this level sucks.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be much better, but this
No.
is a suck dad level. I thought it was going to be like bigger and like better turns.
You have to review this game now. You can't just leave this to only be on a podcast. You have to do a formal review.
We will be going on a specific person's podcast. Maybe both of us have been, like all three of us have been guests on it. There's talks about going on that show and reviewing ranking all of the Power Rangers games, because
please,
the hosts of that are like, we'll never do that. We won't play every single Power Rangers games. We know a lot of them suck.
I mean, I think that's a brilliant idea.
I mean,
it's quality content.
I think we only have like 13 more to go, something like that. But then it also gets into the like, well, are you guys going to do every what is it? I think Time Force has a like like a PlayStation one that is different than the N64 one, which is different than the Game Boy Advanced one.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, well, let's try to keep it to only consoles, unless if it's a game that is only on handheld. So it's just that's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and like there's only because they're the only two Power Rangers games I still own. Well, no, I still have the Sega Genesis movie one, which is hands down the best in my opinion. But I own the Super Legends games for PS2 and DS. And they are radically different games. Like, they are two different games completely. So it's hard when they do that, because they usually have different developers. So you're like, damn, they have the same title. Maybe I can get away with just pretending they're the same game. Yeah,
and it also like the movie games are all different from one another.
Yeah, that's true. Like the Super Nintendo movie game literally has nothing to do with the movie except that Ivan Ooze is the final boss.
It also is the most difficult game out of any of them that we've played on here, because it doesn't have a password system or like a checkpoint system.
That's why you got to use save states so you can
even with save states we were sucking.
That's terrible. I've only played it once. I don't remember much about it, but I did not enjoy it.
Yeah, it's the best one so far would probably be, I wish the Car Ranger one could be included. I guess the Genesis one, even though the movie, I get it felt very repetitive, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it was like a beat 'em up, like Final Fight. And it was just, I like that it at least tried to adapt the story of the movie, but it also threw in like 3 episodes from the TV show randomly, and here you go, play as the Thunderzords. But like the Genesis one, the first one that was the fighting game, I hate that game. It's terrible.
I
I don't like it at all.
the Super Nintendo movie, like the Fighter Edition,
Mhm.
that one's really good.
That one's good. I just suck at fighting games.
Yeah.
I mean, I can play Smash Brothers, which, depending on who you're talking to, will debate you if that's a real fighting game.
It's
or
a fighting
not.
game.
It's a fighting game, but don't. I mean, the Smash community is on fire right now, so maybe they won't hear us saying that. I don't know.
Wait, why are they on fire?
Oh, that's some heavy conversation. There have been over 40 cases of sexual abuse and abuse that have come out over the past week. It is dark.
Oh, dang.
It is. It's worth a read because these victims need to be heard.
Yeah.
But it is not happy conversation in them, and it is. If you'll pardon the language, it is fucked up.
Yeah, you can totally curse.
No, it's just like, holy shit. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how they're going to recover. That's how bad it is.
Like the people who made the game?
No. Like, Nintendo's not involved, which is, I think, part of the problem because, you've got stuff like EVO and like all these fighting game tournaments and stuff that are just locally run. But you've got the streamers, and nothing against streamers per se. It's just those are the people who are involved.
As we are streaming.
Right.
Yeah,
You've got people who become famous within the community, like the bigger names and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're using their influence and the promise of, oh, well, we'll hang out and I'll be your friend. And they're 33 years old talking to 15-year-olds. And 15-year-olds are young and impressionable, and obviously it's wrong. And it's just a mess. It's really depressing because as much as I'd like to pretend the world isn't that gross,
it is.
It's super.
I try. I don't want someone to take this. I try to keep it light with my content because I just want to. I like escapism. Power Rangers is an escape for me to get away from the real world, which in turn kind of goes with superheroes to an extent, even though superheroes have always tackled real life issues.
Yeah. Hey, but ask some comic book fans, and they don't get that.
they don't realize that the X-Men are an allegory for homosexuals, or
or just minorities in general.
Like, they don't get it, and which is, God, I'm gonna piss somebody off, but it's like, how obtuse can you be? Like, how
very?
Like, I'm squeezing a thing of chapstick in my hand right now because it frustrates me so much. Like, I am a very, let's say, opinionated person. Let's go that way.
I was voted most opinionated.
It's one of those things. It's like, you can't ignore the world, and you can't ignore what's happening because that just allows it to continue to happen.
Yeah.
But and this isn't an insult to myself, but I'm not intelligent enough to articulate things the way they need to be articulated. So if I can offer some sort of escapism, that's what I try to do. I will not deny or pretend that this stuff is not wrong and that it is not happening. But I don't think I'm qualified to give somebody a deep dive on everything that's wrong. I'm a I'm gay, so I can tell you stuff on that, but I'm also a white guy. I think it's more important for me to listen
Yeah.
to what's going on than to try to explain it to somebody. What I can do is point people to resources if they have questions, and get them the answers they need if they really and truly want to learn. But I think right now it's very important for us to all to listen to what's going on in the world, because we're at a turning point, and it just keeps getting so deep and heavy, and I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine.
It's just it as important as Power Rangers is to me, and how important all this is to my daily life. There are far more important things happening in the world right now, and it's our responsibility. If I can draw attention to it, I will. But people also need to pay attention and get out of their bubbles.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox. I'm getting too invested in it right now. I'm trying to keep it light and happy.
No, it's fine. We spent an entire episode of the podcast about just me describing why I want to kill myself, like deep diving into that. And that it was so it was so much so that we made it a bonus episode because we didn't even talk about Sentai. We were like, we can't just put out an episode like this and call it that for the week. But the episode after that ended up turning out really goofy somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's just a balance. You never know what you're gonna. When you do stuff like this, you never know what you're gonna encounter.
Yeah.
For me, my Twitter is supposed to be a supplement to my YouTube, but I'm also a naturally shy person. But I found that Twitter has helped me open up a lot. By engaging with the fandom, I've made friends, which is, first of all, not what I expected to happen. I'm happy about it, but I really never expected it to ever pick up. And it has in a way that I'm proud of, because there's a lot of work that I put into it. But sometimes I have this weird back and forth with myself. Do I want it to only be about my content? Or is it okay for me to talk about personal stuff on it? Because I have a personal Twitter. Like 3 people who follow me know about it. But that's because it's mine. That's got my life, my details, my husband's stuff on there. It's me. But if some of my life experience can help somebody else, I feel like I have to do that. I suffer from depression. I suffer from panic disorder. I have very frequent panic attacks and very high anxiety. But I'm not ashamed of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think other people should be either. I'm not going to tell somebody how to live their life. But if me being open about my struggles with it helps somebody else feel better, that, hey, maybe I can go to a doctor. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe, there's people who like me, which is great. I appreciate that. I really do.
Like us.
If I can help you somehow by saying, hey, I had a panic attack and I'm not having the best day, but it's okay, it'll get better. I mean, it's true. In the moment, I'm like, God, this sucks. I've never been suicidal, which I'm thankful for, but I have experienced that weird moment of like, I don't want to die, but if I did die, I wouldn't necessarily, it's not that I wouldn't care. It's just that I don't know how to explain it.
It'd be pretty fucking dope.
It'd be okay. Like, I'm not going to cause myself to die.
Right.
If a car were to fly through my front door right now and smash me, I don't know if I'd complain. I'd probably in that last second go, this figures. You
would say, oh, thank God it wasn't in the toy room.
Please don't hurt my toys. No, it's like, if me being honest about what's affecting me can help somebody else, then good. I'm always open to talk about that with people. I'm not I'm not a doctor. I'm not the best at advice. People tell me I'm easy to talk to and that I give good advice, but I always would feel guilty if my advice, I don't know. It's a complicated line you've got to walk, but I also tell myself too, and it's something I have to do, is I have to learn to be more assertive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Very much a people pleaser, and I hate that about myself. Because 12 years of retail made me feel like I was less of a person, because retail does that to you, not just from a customer standpoint, but from like...
Retail has made me less of a people pleaser.
It's built into me, because if I didn't please the people, I lost my hours, or I would lose my job. So I had to do stuff that if I were in that store and I were just overhearing this psychopath yelling at me, I would probably get punched because of what I would say to them. But one of my personality traits is trying to make people happy, even if they don't really, I don't want to say deserve it, but like I try to diffuse situations that maybe I should just be like, they should probably just be allowed to show their ass. But I try to be kind to everybody, and not like the Ellen kind where you're like secretly a dick behind the door.
Yeah, we found that out, that Ellen, not a good person.
Yeah, and fun fact, I almost, at another job, I almost worked for Ellen's clothing company. Like, we almost made product for them. I never signed an NDA or anything. I'm not legally bound from not speaking about this. It didn't happen because of how they wanted to source stuff. But it's weird that it's like, oh, I almost technically worked for Ellen in a way. But I don't know. I think people need to take a breath and just realize that being kind to one another actually takes less energy than being vile to each other constantly.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
It also, like, just hurt your head, if that makes sense.
It
of just
does.
being mean to people.
And when you dwell on it, it's easier said than done. I know it's a practice. You have to train yourself. I did not get to this point in a day, and I still fail sometimes. But letting people live rent-free in your head only hurts you. So it's easier to be kind or just skip over the tweet. Like, so somebody said something dickish, just skip it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to respond. Unless they're being... I will try to step up for somebody who's being harassed. But if somebody's just being negative for the sake of being negative, tell the difference. Just keep scrolling. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for you.
Yeah.
It's just... And that's a form of self-care. Learn to... I call it picking your battles. And, I mean, it's pretty true. Like, mute and move on. Like, mute them if they're too negative. I don't block people because people get a weird satisfaction out of being blocked.
Yeah, what I will also do on Facebook is I will say something, like, make my point and then just turn off notifications.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, hey, they'll keep trying to talk back to me, but I will be none the wiser. But we got a chat. Daniel Romano said, I want certain things taken with me when I go. Certain Power Rangers episodes.
Yeah, watch them in whatever the afterlife is.
I think the afterlife is just, like, you get to live in your favorite TV shows. Why not?
Well, see, I'm like, do they want to take the episodes with them because, like, they're bad? Like, they want to take the bad episodes? Like, they want the bad episodes to die? Or, like,
Daniel,
they want their favorite ones with them?
Daniel,
Clarify.
Yes, Daniel, clarify what you're saying. This game is, just, like, dull, I guess is how I would say it. Nicole, I also have to be honest with you. This character has unlimited blaster. I don't, like,
Why?
it makes him very OP.
That is so unbalanced.
Yeah,
Because
he's
they're a bad guy.
Yeah, but I'm looking at your acceleration, and it doesn't seem like there's any drawbacks to this character.
yeah. His handling I don't think is that great, and maybe his max speed isn't. Yeah, I'm starting to think that he might be the OP guy, because like I can just be like, hang back.
No.
Somebody on Twitter replied to the link to the stream and said, I wish he had this bike in the series," talking about the Gold Ranger. And then he says, "I remember myself at times liking that these Power Rangers use their bikes more than the Kamen Riders do." And he brings up a good point. I kind of forgot that the Gold Ranger did not have a ZEO jet cycle. Like, I didn't even think about that. So they just made it up for the game. So there's some canon for you.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, I want to get into Kamen Rider kind of in the same way as I want to watch Sentai. But mine is completely because, and it's on brand for me. I look at the suits and I'm like, oh, those suits look cool. I want toys.
Oh yeah, same. We want to get into Kamen Rider. Just there's so much to watch.
There is, and it's hard to choose where to start. Like I've done some research in my typical, like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. There was sidebar, there was a ZEO jet cycle figure for the Gold Ranger. It just never appeared in the show.
Oh.
I thought I remembered that. So to your Twitter reply, if you're listening, there is one. But it's hard. It's like, where do I start? When I started watching Doctor Who, I have this problem with watching, this sounds so silly, but it's hard for me to go back and watch old movies that I didn't experience at the time. And I don't know, it's like this weird secondhand embarrassment of seeing like the world in the 80s. I don't know how to explain it, because I like a period piece, but like watching a comedy from, like 1982, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It's just like, oh God, everything's so weird and different. And I was, in that case, I wasn't even alive. It's just, but now, like, music, I love 80s music. I love synth. I love synth pop. I love pop music. I don't care if people don't like it. I don't care if people think it's shallow. It's just what I enjoy. I like all kinds of music, but I was definitely a pop culture person in my teens and early 20s, and I'm kind of fallen out of that in some ways. But I was just listening to 80s music in the shower this morning. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to listen to some Don Henley. We're going to go. Let's do this. And music is universal, it really, there are songs that you can listen to that just take you back to like a very specific moment.
Yeah.
Everybody's experienced that. Sometimes it's a good moment, sometimes it's a bad moment, but that's something music really can do for me in a way that like visual media cannot. So, I don't know. We're all over the place with this one today.
It's fine. Nicole has a weird relationship with 80s music because it's just overplayed, or at least the singles, right? It's just overplayed on at your work.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though they pay for a fucking Spotify, like, account, like the shit where you can just play whatever you want. They just listen to the same exact playlist of 80s music, like, every fucking day.
God,
and it makes me want to kill myself.
Like, I worked at this place in California. So I'm in Florida now. Please don't stalk me, anybody. Unless you're cute, then you can stalk me. I worked at this place, and on paper, it sounds like an amazing experience. I'm not gonna name them because they're the kind of people who would sue me into the ground.
Disneyland.
No, but it was a record store slash comic book store slash uh, video game store slash board game store, but also sold record supplies on the internet.
This seems like you just described a store in detail, but I have no idea what store it could be.
Well, it's not a chain though. It's not like you could look this up maybe by the detail. Like it sounds like I worked for Amoeba or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not the case. The owners were trash. Like they were the worst kind of human beings you could ever meet. The chances of them ever hearing this is like next to zero. But it sounded like a great job. It was not. It was a family-owned business. The daughter was the manager of the customer service part, which is what I was in. So basically, people would order video games, comic books, record supplies, all from eBay. I was their customer service lead. I didn't process the orders exactly. I would handle the customer services end of it, like replying to emails, questions, doing shipping calculations, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd print the orders, and then the people in those departments would pull them and ship them. And then, that kind of thing. But it's like getting to see all these old records and that kind of stuff was cool. Well, the bosses were not cool, and my manager, the daughter, was, I can't think of a fictional character to relate her to because she was so awful, besides calling her Satan.
But Satan's good guy. Remember that.
Like, I think I'm blanking. The Harry Potter teacher, the bad one. I know that's not helpful. The one that
Cruella de Vil.
Umbridge.
Professor McGoggle.
This woman was terrible. So we had this radio, right? And I mean, this radio was from like 1972.
Yeah.
Whether the boss was there at 9, which was infrequent, or there at like 11 or 12, that radio had to be on. They thought that it increased productivity. And it was only allowed to be on one station, which meant you heard the same kind of music over and over again.
Yeah, in rotation, like every 2 hours it just repeats.
And I'm not the biggest fan of rock music. I can listen to some, but it's not my thing. I'm
like
more
Slayer. You love Slayer.
Like I can do some 80s like hair metal and like some 90s, depending, like a little bit of grunge. I can do it. But this was like top 40, and I don't have a problem with top 40. Let me clarify. I love pop music, so I'm into that. But it's top 40 that was pretending to not be top 40, which drives me crazy anyway. Like, own up to what you are.
Yeah.
But then once Boss Lady would get here, she had 3 playlists. Never added new songs to them, like ever. They were 8 hours long each, and she never put them on shuffle. So
same order every single time.
Oh my God.
Literally. And you have 3 days, but depending on how they decided to screw you over on your schedule and not give you overtime, you either worked 5 days or 6 days. And you had those same 3 playlists to choose from. And some days she just decided to torture us and play the same playlist 5 days in a row. Now, so yes, I feel you. Just to one-up you, because I guess I'm going to be that person today. The kitchen, the area where you heat up your food,
is just covered in comic books 24/7.
Oh, you wish it were that bad. And I have pictures of it to prove this, so I will DM you if nobody believes me. The kitchen was the size of a small like foyer when you walk into somebody's house. On one side of the wall was the refrigerator and the microwave, and a bunch of political propaganda taped all over the walls and the clipboards and stuff.
Oh, was
where
it?
you were told to read it, but you weren't allowed to read it on your own on the clock. But you also weren't allowed to be in the building on your own time. So I don't know how that works. On the other side of the wall was a toilet and a sink in the same room.
Did people use the toilet?
Yes, you didn't have a choice. It was the bathroom.
But there was a door, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. The room was one.
Yes.
There was a door into the room. But you'd go in to make your burrito, immediately after somebody had
browned out.
So we lovingly referred to it as the bitchin'. Bathroom, kitchen, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we can do to get through with the sanity. Nobody liked this job. But you had to have money. And in California, you're poor. And in a small town in California where everything's a local business, like not knocking local business, but they legitimately only allowed Target to come into the city because Target threw a bunch of money at the community. But they had a ban on drive-thrus. You had to drive out of the city to get a drive-through meal if you wanted like McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
Or in California's case, I would never choose McDonald's. I'm going to In-N-Out. I will drive 20 minutes south to get In-N-Out. It was worth it. So hiring, you have this really rich town full of really rich people, but you only have these local businesses that were paying like $8 to $10 to $11 an hour, which is not a livable wage in California.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I have to cook my lunch while smelling somebody's leftovers in the toilet. Like, this place was hell.
That sucks.
So, of all the jobs, I haven't had many jobs in my life, I guess. I don't know how many jobs the average person has, but I survived that. I can survive anything. But that playlist was worse than the bitchin'. Like, somehow, because I just stopped eating during the day. Solved that problem. And I don't like using the restroom in public, so that solves that problem. But this job, you had to literally hand document what you were doing by the minute. I am not kidding.
I have suggested doing that at my job just so that my boss would stop being on my ass about things that I already am doing. And I'm like, I'll fucking do minutes if you want me to.
It's funny. It's because I can see I've had bosses like that before where I'm like, if you somehow you're saying I'm not doing enough, but yet the store is running in like perfect shape.
Yeah.
Dan, but I had to turn these in at the end of every week. And then I was not a manager at this place, which was fine because once I got out of retail management, I never wanted to be a manager again.
Oh, I've self-demoted myself from being manager at I did it twice in one company. I was like, oh yeah, I made a mistake. I don't want to do this anymore. Either I quit or I go back to my my other position.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like when I left the video game retailer, I was an assistant manager, and the opportunity, my district manager did not like me because I was not a push sales on the customer kind of person. I'm better at operations. Like, I can run your store.
Yeah.
I am very organized in like my professional life. Makes me sound like I have some kind of crazy good job, but I do really love my job now, though. So that's a good point. But I don't like getting forced into like buying stuff when I'm shopping.
Yeah.
So I know other people don't either. I have a lot of sympathy for retail workers because I know that they're doing their job. But at the same time, like, and this isn't their fault, Unless they're a manager, I will blame them if they're a manager to an extent. But when I say no, that's it. You know, I'm dropping $400 in your store.
Yeah.
Let it be. Like, I don't. If I don't know. I'll tell you what I need, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So it's. But I always try to be polite because I know they're not getting paid shit, and I know retail workers are not making these rules. So I can't stand it when I see a Karen screaming at an employee, and the husband gets really uncomfortable because I will start saying things out loud to people about that are less than polite. And he's convinced I'm going to get the shit beat out of me one day, and I probably will. But
it'll be
if that-
worth it.
It kind of would be like
Then you can Karen that Karen by suing Karen.
God, and the ones who are usually doing it usually look like they have enough money that I could probably not work for a few years. That'd be but that's the thing. It's like
or keep working, but buy just all the toys you've always wanted.
a pipe dream, a dream that I don't know that I would ever actually do because of the state of retail is, even though I'm not as able to read comic books and stuff anymore, I've always wanted to own like a weird comic book coffee shop hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Two things I'm not exceptionally good at. Like, I prefer chai lattes to coffee, personally. But I think it would be cool to have something a little more, I don't want to say upscale because I don't want to come off snobbish. But I'm sure we've all gone into a comic book store where we're like, oh man, this place could use just a really good deep clean. Like, I would want to do it what I would consider the right way. I would want it to look nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something, I guess in theory, I could own a toy store if I ever had the capital to put behind it.
Oh, and there are some toy stores that could use some... What's that one on Belmont? Kapow?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, Kapow. It's just a mess in there because there's so much inventory but not enough space.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Quake used to be like that over in our area, but once they got that like small remodel, it looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We have one good toy store here, which didn't start out that way. So to his credit, he had lots of inventory, but kind of the same problem. But he recently remodeled a bit, and it's gotten better. But the other problem with that is he gets his pricing from eBay rather than actual value.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Part of the way I'm able to do this, I'm not rich. Spencer and I, but he won't care, whatever. I try to give him his privacy, and like he's not. So I try to respect him.
Yeah.
And that's whatever. We have good jobs. They pay the bills. They let us have our hobbies. Unfortunately, we both chose the two most expensive hobbies in the world: video games and toy collecting.
Oh, I thought you were going to say owning cars.
Oh, God. I guess it could be worse. I barely like to drive my car, much less. Unless I'm driving in LA. I really actually enjoy LA driving, which is weird. But I basically run a side business out of my house. Like, I sell toys and video games online to help funnel money back into the hobby.
Hell yeah.
Because, I mean, our bills are paid. Our rent is paid. We're extremely fortunate. I'm never going to say that we're not lucky to be able to do what we do. But at the same time, we work very hard. You know, I'm not going to say that we don't work for this. So everybody deserves to enjoy the fruits of their labor, and that's a whole nother like tangent about like fair wages and that kind of stuff. But I don't know, if I could afford to not work my real job and own my own business, I would. I don't have any formal business training. Like I don't have a college education because of.
You don't need it.
You don't need it. But my dad got sick when I was literally I found out he had cancer the day before I graduated high school. I mean, it's fine. I'm 100% at peace with it. It's not like a sad story anymore. They gave him a year. He lived 6. Like, it was great. It's fantastic. But I would want to do it right. And right, in my opinion, would be to have enough money to fund it properly.
Yeah, that's the boat I'm in right now with the whole podcasting thing. I haven't had like a job in almost 2 years now. But now I'm just hemorrhaging. Technically, I'm only spending money on bills, and that's it. Like to actually live, because I'm able to live like a vagrant. But I'm hoping I get to see the fruits of my labor soon.
Yeah. Which it's a slow process, and I'm an impatient person.
Yeah,
same.
It's a flaw. It's a character flaw, and I know that. And
I mean, it's kind like I think I deserve. I mean, it's understandable that I'm impatient because with like music, I've been doing that for 14 years, so I lump that in with like podcasting and all of this other stuff we just started doing. I'm like, but I've been doing this for 14 years. That's why I'm pissed. And they're like, oh no, James, settle down. You've been doing music for 14 years. This other thing, not even 2 years yet.
Yeah, and it is. It's trained me. I guess it's a learning process, and in some ways I have grown, and I'm proud of that. But I am not patient, like, at all. So, you know, a month after doing that, like posting my first video, like I remember how excited I was. I actually recorded it. I wasn't ready to, but I was like, no, I'm going to do this, because I'm also the person, like, I'll think about it so long that I end up not doing it. And I was very happy with it. I don't know if I'd be happy with it now if I went back and watched it. So I'm leaving it where it is.
Let's pull it up. We're screen sharing.
It's oh God, I'm gonna have to hear my voice.
Oh no, we don't need to.
It was the Lost Galaxy. It was the Galaxy Megazord. That was the first review I ever did. So you can see when I started. It was back in October. I still think it's decent. Like I know what I did in it, because I wouldn't have posted it if I didn't. But you know, 3 months into it, 20 views. And you think even if it was only like a 20-minute long video, you think what you put into it. I bought a light box because I wanted proper lighting.
Yeah.
I upgraded my cell phone, so I had, because at the time I didn't have a professional camera or like an actual real camera. So I was doing that. I had equipment I had to get a tripod, and of course I buy the toys, so it's money. But I had to keep reminding myself, and it's a stupid phrase, but Rome wasn't built in a day. The fact that, and this is not a brag, so I don't want anyone to take it that way, because I know people have a lot more than this, but the fact that I just crossed over 400 followers on Twitter is extremely humbling.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why anybody listens to anything I say. It's really just me throwing random thoughts into the air. But clearly I have done something right, because I know from my personal experience, if I don't like what somebody's saying, I'm not going to follow them.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased. I mean, would I love to get 1,000 views on every video? Hell yeah. That would make me feel great. My first video not my first one, but I had a video finally cross over 1,000 views.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen, like ever. And it did. I'm not, like I said, I'm not monetized. I only have 129 subscribers. I don't care. That's 129 people who took the time
Yeah.
to subscribe to something I'm creating. It is extremely, extremely humbling and fulfilling. Like, you know, I will never, ever, ever say something like, oh, I don't like this creator. They don't deserve the followers. Why does he have this and I don't? That's not fair. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to myself. They've been doing this for 10 years, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing this for 10 months.
Yeah.
I'm not good at being realistic sometimes, even though I'm a realist, but that comes from my impatience.
I will say something real quick. For you doing it for such a short amount of time, and you weren't doing videos before this, the quality is very good.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. I really do.
Oh, no problem.
Because I'm sure, like every creator, I am very critical of myself.
Oh, yeah.
Both personally and, you know, professionally, in air quotes. Like, but I also have to remember that the things that I say and the things that I critique about myself, I'm going to say 95% sure I would never say that to another human being.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to remember to cut myself some slack, because, like I said, I've grown. I know how to do more than I did 10 months ago. I used to put myself on this schedule, like one video a week. That was too much for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that was putting pressure on myself that wasn't fair. Like, honestly, I have a full-time job. And not saying that you can't do this with a full-time job, but I have a full-time job. I'm married. I have a house, a home I have to take care of.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before briefly. Like, I play World of Warcraft, which is a time sink all on its own. I run a guild, which, you know, people who don't game would probably be like, whatever. But that's time consuming. We're an extremely casual guild, but we're really good at what we do. And I'm very, very, very proud of them. Like, I told them tonight when I was doing this, I was like, you're probably going to get a shout out. I love my guild. I love my guild mates. I know probably half of them in real life, and the other half I appreciate so much. They don't even know. But that's a lot of ways to stretch oneself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was finding that putting myself on that schedule to have one video a week was difficult. So the one thing the pandemic has taught me is, one, I need consistency and I need structure. But two, like, hey, you didn't get a video out in a month. Like, you should shoot for something, but you didn't die. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You don't have to put that pressure on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning. I'm growing as a person, and that's a success.
Yeah, like, it's supposed to be fun, and when and you put that much pressure on yourself, it stops being fun.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And first and foremost, podcast, because I'm a nerd. But I'm extremely thankful that you guys invited me to be on here.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's really, like, the fact that you found me interesting enough to want to talk to me is extremely humbling. So this is fun to me. Like, I start off nervous because that's how I am, but it's fun to just get to talk to other people about what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we should totally, we really need to start doing this, especially now that the curve ain't getting flattened. We should try and get you on Mostly Speaking Sentai proper if you ever want to do that.
Sure. I don't speak a lot of Sentai, but if you want to talk about Power Rangers, let's go.
We don't either. Have you listened to the show?
I've listened to bits and pieces, but see, here's the thing with me with podcasts and music. and I lost this in the pandemic. I am really weird about listening to stuff in the house.
Oh yeah, we once the pandemic hit, we were like, "Oh man, people are gonna have so much time to listen to podcasts. It's gonna be great." But then it's like, "Oh no, reports are in. People listen while they're on commutes exclusively."
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah,
And I'm one of those people who, if I have a notification on my phone, like the little red circle, it drives me insane.
Turn those badges off, man.
I can't though. I need to know when there's notifications.
Just turn the red circle off.
Yeah, turn the badge off. Keep just the banner notification.
I've tried. It doesn't. It's just I'm programmed so weirdly. Like my podcast app is just filling up, and I'm thinking I might be able to start because, right when we got that dumb, not dumb because people needed it, but when we got that stimulus,
Yeah.
I told the husband we should buy something small but like nice because we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
So we decided to get AirPods because I have sleeping issues. Like a combination of like anxiety and insomnia. And I found that listening to like rain or beach sounds helped me sleep. The problem with that was I kept throwing my phone across the room like when I would toss and turn or choking myself and waking up unable to breathe because I had a wire around my neck. It sucked. I'm not kidding. I am a natural blonde. I just realized I can wear my AirPods when I'm not in bed. I'm not. Like it took me a month of owning these, and then I was like, I'm cleaning the kitchen. It's not my favorite thing, but it has to be done. I like a clean kitchen. And then I was like, I can put in my AirPods and listen to music, and not. Part of the reason I didn't do that previously was because the wire hanging down into my pocket was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It's
and it
weird.
just like it gets caught on shit and then it like yanks out of your ears. It's just
It's exactly it. And it drove me
mess.
crazy.
I'm the opposite. I don't like wireless things because I'm afraid of losing them. So I don't mind the cord. Also, because I've always done audio stuff. I'm like, oh well, cordless stuff. There's a latency there. No, man, I'm plugged into the cord. Whatever that Buffy the Vampire Slayer quote is that TC always screams.
Okay.
It's if you're not jacked in, the time of the page is obsolete. If you're not jacked in, you're something. I don't know. It has to do with cords. That's what I'm saying.
I feel that when it comes to gaming on a wireless connection. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
There's no lag. I tank. I have to be able to react to enemy damage coming in. I mean, hello. I can't die. I'm the leader. So, but I just recently started listening to music in the kitchen while I was cleaning, while I was doing laundry. Surprisingly, it makes both of those tasks go by much quicker.
Yeah.
So we have this record player that also has Bluetooth, but because of how I grew up and my mom not liking noise and being very antsy about noise, I always feel like I'm bothering people if they can hear my music I'm playing and stuff. So I don't ever play music through that, even though why did I buy a record player and why did I buy records? It doesn't. It's more for decor than anything else, which is stupid. And I know he wouldn't care. It would not bother him at all, but it would bother me thinking I was bothering him.
Maybe that's the next thing you work on. Just like quietly, you put on a record, and then like every single day you turn it up just a little bit more, and just bathe in the sound. Slowly
get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm starting to realize, like, oh, I can catch up on my podcasts.
Yeah.
I can do. But the bad part about that is like, I think my podcasts are in like the hundreds. My backlog is big.
What podcasts are you listening to?
Lord, hold on, let me get my phone. I've got, which app do I use? There's so many of hidden so that I don't see the notification. You guys, I've got Into the Grid. I've got No Pink Spandex. I've got Ranger Command Power Hour. I've got RuPaul's What's the Tea. I've got Dax Shepard's. I don't remember what that one's called.
I don't either.
It's not coming. It's something about the couch. I don't know. And then I've got some gaming ones on here. It just.
Have you ever listened to How Did This Get Played?
I've never heard of that.
You should check it out. It's two comedians discussing the worst or the weirdest video games. Nick Weiger and Heather Ann Campbell. Nick used to write. He writes on comedy shows, and then Heather was on like the newest Who's Line.
Okay.
It's super funny.
I listened to it was I listened to it over and over again, even though it's done. I don't know how you feel about like podcast mysteries. Like they're basically reading a story to you. But there was this really good one called Deadly Manners.
I don't ever heard of it.
It's that's not surprising considering I don't know if they ever really advertised it, but it's 10 episodes. It's like a dark comedy. It's got all these famous people doing the voices in it. It's narrated by Kristen Bell, Dennis O'Hare, RuPaul's in it, Michelle Visage from RuPaul's in it, Anna Shlumsky, and most importantly, it's narrated by LeVar Burton.
Oh, hell yeah.
It is grossly engaging. I was listening to it when it was live. So you had to wait a week for it to come out.
Yeah.
Absolutely addicting.
I'll check it out.
It's a mystery. It's Clue, the podcast. It is so good. So, and the stories are only like 30 minutes long, roughly, but yet totally listen to it. They're talking about doing like another season, but it's one of those things where it's just like a bunch of actors got together. I don't even know if they really made money off of it.
I'm guessing they did.
Probably. I mean, I would assume so, but it's just so well done, and it's got a lot of twists in it. So I don't know. It's just there's so much there, and I get overwhelmed by backlogs, which is why, like, not on top of collecting Power Rangers, which are easy to go through and to like just take off the shelf. Both husband and I are very avid gamers, so on top of World of Warcraft taking our time, we also buy lots of console games. But I often buy them and then put them on the shelf and get to them like a year later.
Yeah.
Because I have no self-control and I can't just wait until I need something to play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's but it's fun to have hobbies. I mean, I buy video games. I don't play them. What's the point? So, and like this year, we've got PS5 and the new Xbox coming out, and I'll just start the process all over again.
Yeah.
I'm excited. There's a few things to look forward to in 2020, and that's where we come back to that point of putting a little bit of happiness into the world.
Yeah.
Because we all need it right now. I really do. Especially those of us who suffer from depression and anxiety and a bit of that's it right now.
Going for 2 hours. I think it's time to start wrapping up. Also, Frank came in the room, meaning he's hungry. He might have Nicole. He might have pooped. I'm not sure. Looking at his butt.
Awesome.
But it might not. It might just be his natural look. You know how he has just hair down
Yeah.
there, you know?
Yeah.
Resting poop butt.
Yeah, he's a poo butt.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. What do you have to plug?
I mean, check me out on YouTube. My YouTube channel name is literally Old God Machinations. You can follow me on Twitter. That one's a little different. It's at OG Machinations because it's too long. And if neither of those are your thing, I post random pictures of my collection and things I buy and share it with the world on Instagram. That one is also Old God Machinations. So
Hell yeah.
I try to keep it consistent, but I'm very active on Twitter, moderately active on YouTube just because of the time. And just check us out, or check us out. Check me out. It's all me.
There was one thing you were I want to critique you on when you were saying like, hey, like, what do we got today? But then you were like, oh, I'm not. It's just me here. No. On YouTube, because it's the community. You want to talk in we, just like in a relationship, like you and your husband. It's not like, oh, like I need to do this work. It's like, oh no, we need to do this work on the house.
We should. I think the community should be. That's a whole another story for another day. But I think the community does need to unite, and I need to do my part to help with that. So
Yeah,
I agree with you. That's a good. I'll work on that.
Yeah, when I'm in our walk-in closet talking about Beyblade, I'm talking to the fans, because if I'm not, it's just sad. Me like, yes, I'm here. I'm screaming. I'm doing improv bits with myself in character. If I'm not talking to someone, it's not good.
First of all, don't judge me. Secondly, yes, you're right.
Yeah. Nicole, what do you have to plug?
Visit darlinghomebody.com for cool stuff. I'm Darling Homebody on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook, and Patreon.
Hell yeah! And guys, go over to mlmpod.com to find out information about my podcasts, such as Mostly Speaking Sentai, This Movie's Gay, What the Hell Mouth, and Hit It and Crit It. But if you feel so kind and you have money to spare, go over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where you can get Patreon exclusive podcasts every single Friday, such as Talking About Beyblade. That's where I'm going through every episode of season 1 of Beyblade. That was a bad idea on my behalf, but I'm having fun with it. It's a ridiculous show. If you want to hear someone descent into madness while simultaneously trying to pull himself out of madness, that's the show for you. Also, the Toku Reading Corner, where Nicole is reading tokusatsu fan fiction, or Engaged with Nicolas Cage, where Nicole and I are going with, speaking of people's descents into madness, we're trying we're watching every single Nicolas Cage movie in order to see if he is a madman or a genius.
Or better than John Hamm. That's
Ooh.
the tag, James. Get it right.
It's a bundle of fun. Go over there and also check out my rap music under Marshland Monster, wherever music is found. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, links are in the description for all three of us.
Yeah.
Thank you again
for having me.
Oh no, dude! Thank you so much. This was a ball. Besides this game is not good. Also, I'm very glad that all of these are being recorded, so when we eventually do a review of them, I can just go back if I'm like, I don't remember that one. Just find it on the feed, and I could be like, oh yeah, I did not like that one.
Yeah.
And you don't have to play it again. It's a win-win.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's the big thing. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
I gotta end the streams real quick.
Okay.
There's a little lag, so people might be hearing me still. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Probably that one.